Very happy Monday to you today. My name is Sarah and I'm excited to be joining you for this Altenew Live today. So we are streaming live on both YouTube and Facebook, and whichever way you decided to join us, thank you so much for coming along. I'm really pleased because I'm excited to share with you this new stamp set and coordinating die set that I've been playing with for a good couple of days now. So I've got quite a lot of samples that I'm excited to share with you. So I'm just going to take a quick look at the screen and make sure we're doing okay. Hi, Avril, nice to see you. You're the first one to pop in with a comment. Zia Morrow is here. Nice to see you as well. And Naomi, I'm doing okay. Thank you, Naomi. I hope you are too. And the lovely Kathleen is with us behind the Altenew badge. And as usual, she's very, very quick to pop in and let everybody know if you are sharing the live while we are live, you can be in for a $15 gift certificate to the Altenew store. And when you do that, do post down below that you shared, and you can let us know how you shared as well too, and then she'll know who she can choose from. And Cece is with us. Stacy, fantastic to see everybody. Hi, Nancy. Nancy's in a sunny San Francisco today. Nice to hear. And Cece, I'm glad I saw your name pop up because Cece is reminding me to mention, I'm remembering this for myself, the Altenew fan group, which is on Facebook. And I'm reminded by Cece because she posted a really beautiful card that she worked on as inspiration from the last time we were doing a live, which was on Thursday. So if you haven't had a chance to go over to the Facebook Altenew fan group, that's the name of it, do have a look because lots and lots of gorgeous examples from all over the world, all different stamps, all different dies, all different Altenew stuff. And it is just so full of inspiration. So thank you for the reminder, Cece. Okay, great to see everybody. It looks like Melusina, I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. She says that she is working with the stamp set already today. It's like you read my mind. No, I don't have those powers, but it is pretty cool that you have been working with the book Engravings stamp set. So this is what we're going to be playing with today. And I really love this. Now see if you have encountered this as well. It's one of those layering stamp sets that looks beautiful when it's layered. And I'll show you on the inside here. You can see some of the examples of what it will look like when you do your layering. But as you'll notice, that you've also got, so you've got the layering option, but you've also got these really nice outline images. So you've got two flowers, you've got a large and you have a smaller one. And then you have all of these really nice, big, flowy leaves. Now they can be layered, but they can also be used singly. So if you just stamp them onto your cardstock like this, you have so many different coloring possibilities. So you can use your colored pencils, you can use your markers, you can use your artist markers, you can use things like the watercolor brush markers, you can use your watercolors. If you were with us on Thursday, we were playing with the metallic watercolors. That would look great too. So what I want to show you today is a couple of different ways to color in your stamps, in particular with this set. So again, this is the book Engravings, really, really nice collection. And again, it's easier to see if you look on the inside here and you can see some of the project ideas. Okay, and of course, they always give you the layering guide in here as well. So that's what we'll be playing with. There is a die set as well, and I'll show you that. There's also a mask set. So you can get like this masking stencil as well. And that enables you to create a third layer in your flowers and leaves. I don't have that, but I thought I'd just mention it because it's on my wish list. And for sentiments on this one, you've got a little tiny hello, and you also have a little tiny thank you. But of course, you know that you can always mix and match your Altenew sentiments. So I'm going to be using some of the sentiments from Beautiful Day, another really nice stamp set. And I'm also going to be pulling some of these other floral images on here too. So I'm going to do a little bit of a mix and match with our stamps. And we will also be playing with watercolors and the water brush markers too. So I have a lot to show you, and I'm excited to get started. So the first card project I want to share with you is this one here. So it's raised up on some foam tape, just the flower. The other elements are all just stamped straight down onto cardstock. So I'm going to tilt down my camera and we can get started. Take a look. And hello to everybody that I have not had a chance to say hi to yet. Good to see everybody popping in. Ooh, we've got someone from Morocco. Jill is in the very warm UK. Anna says hello. Fenna from the Netherlands. Lilling from Scotland. It's great to see everybody. So thank you so much for joining us today. Okay, I'm going to start out with this card here. I'm going to get these elements out of the way. And what I want to show you is just the classic how to do the layering for this. It is super easy. It's really quite simple to align. So let me just grab some inks and we can get started. So with this card project, I have my flower popped up on some foam tape. I'll kind of angle this. Maybe you can see that a little bit better. And then the leaves are just stamped right onto my background piece. And I've got a sentiment from the Beautiful Day stamp set. And I've also incorporated some of the sequins. And these are from the satin gold sequin jar, which you can see I've already used quite a lot of those. Okay, I'm going to grab my Misty for this. Kind of scoot everything off to the other side. And I'm going to start with the flower so that we can take a look and see how easy that is to do. And I'm just going to be working onto smooth white cardstock. And the layering is pretty simple with this. It's not multiple layers like some of the sets will have lots and lots of layers. So I'll open this up and you can see with the large blossom, that's the one I'm going to do. It is the outline, which I will do in my Obsidian black pigment ink, which I think you guys know I love very much. And then I will do the middle layer. I'm going to use sea glass for that. This is a nice soft blue. And then I need something a little bit darker. And for that, I'm going to use Aqualicious. So those are going to be for my flower. Now for the leaves, they're a two-step process. So it's the outline, and then it's the detail, and then you're done. So for the leaves, which I'll do for the background, I'm going to use bamboo. Okay, so pretty simple assortment to do. So I'll start first of all with my outline. And you can see it's just a really, really nice flower. Really pretty, big, nice big blossom. Okay, pop that down and ink this up with my Obsidian. And then just position this down here. And there we go. So now you can see straight away, you could use this really easily for a coloring element. Again, any of your coloring mediums will do the trick, whether it's watercolors or colored pencils or your artist markers and so on. Lots and lots of possibilities with that. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is step into the next part of the process. Now I like this because I think you can see they've drawn a line around the elements that go together. So this can be really helpful. These two leaves go together. This is the small blossom, and they've labeled things too. So I was just using A1. So I'll go over to A2, and that's my middle layer. And I just need to position this down on here. And of course, you can use the layering guideline. I'm kind of going with this, let's see, I'm going to try and point this to you. This area here, the sort of rounded portion of the blossom, and then also these little tiny bits in the center. So that's my aim here. I'm going to scoop this around. Good lighting always helps with stuff like this. Okay, and I think I should be pretty close. All right. And I'll grab the sea glass for this one. Again, this is a nice light blue. So it's the lighter of the two colors that I'll use for this. And simply pop that down. Now we can see how my aim is. Not too bad. And I've got that really nice color on there. Now then, the thing about pretty much, well, I don't want to say all of the Altenew layering stamps, but many of them is that you can stop at almost every station in the process. So you could actually say, you know, I'm good with this. I'm going to die cut this, or I'm going to add some leaves on here, and I can call it good. And absolutely you can, but you can also go to the next layer if you want to. And the next layer, as we can see from our collection on here, A1, A2, and then A3. It's the one that looks really funny. Sometimes I think people who might be new to stamping would look at that kind of go, now, how does that come together? Which is why I really love that they always include so many visuals on here so that you know exactly how to do this. Not only that, but like on here, you've got all of your various other ink colors and other stamps that you can use with this. So I really like having that option there. Okay, now with our next portion on here, I'm going to try once again to go along this bottom row, and then also those little centerpiece on there. So this is the scooching around portion of it. It's a highly technical term. Okay, there we go. And for this one, I'm going to use the Aqualicious. And you can combine so many of your different colors, light and dark pink. You could do reds, you could do oranges, you can do lots and lots of different colors. And there you go. So you've got an immediate sense of depth and dimension on there. Now you noticed I did the sea glass twice. I'm going to do the aqua twice too. Since I've got everything in place, it's pretty easy to do that. And that just gives a little bit stronger bit of depth on there. Okay, so then what I would do is take my dies and keep them away from the magnets, because we know what can happen there. And then I just position this down, use a little bit of masking tape or some stencil tape, run it through your die cutting machine, and you will have, by the magic of television, you'll have a piece that looks like this. So for the next part of the process, what I'm going to do is add in a background piece with some leaves. So I've got my blossom, and I can start figuring out, you know, do I want my card vertically or horizontally? How do I want to position this? Do I want my flower going this way or tilting that way? And you can kind of start to play around with this and pop down some magnets here. And then you can start looking at your leaves. So there are 3 leaves on here. You've got a really big flowy one. So remember, this is the outline and then this is the detail. Then you have a smaller 2-leaf, design. And then you have another kind of single leaf. So you can really figure where you want these elements to go by just placing these down. So there's that one. Nothing is set in stone. And I'm going to do this big guy over here. And then the two smaller ones, I'm going to put those over here. So before I'm gluing anything down, I can do my scooching. I can move things around and kind of figure out how I want that to go. And then I have all my outline stamps where I want them to go. I'm going to move the magnets around just so that it's a little more secure. And then I can stamp these again because I'm doing the outline. I'll do this with the black obsidian and do them all in one go. You can do them singly if you want to, but this is one of the genius things about the MISTI is that you can do lots of them in one pass. Okay, and also you can fix if there's a little bald spot, like I've got one here. And just come back and add some more ink on there. Okay, so now that I've got those down, I'm just going to clean this off quickly before I end up with black ink all over my hands. And then I can scoot this out. And I can take my flower, kind of figure out, okay, how do I want this? Where do I want this to go? Now, here's the other thing. I don't have any color in here. I think this looks quite nice the way it is, but if you want to add some green in there, all you need to do is come back with the details of each of these pieces. So once again, just kind of clip that in place and add the detail in here. And again, it's fairly easy to line up. Just follow some of those edges. I'm following the outline edges of this one. And when I'm doing multiples of this, I find it's a good idea to kind of attach them to the other side as you go. Otherwise, you get them all perfectly aligned and then you bump one of them out of place. Or maybe that's just me. I don't know. Okay, and I'll get this one here. So again, pop that down, and then finally our big, beautiful blossom here. And then we'll just set this one in place too. Okay, and there we almost go. There we go. Okay, now again, you can use any of your greens that you want to. I'm going to use the bamboo. I really like this bright, fresh green, especially in combination with those blues. You could do darker colors. The evergreen looks really nice. I've used that. The moss and the olive colors, especially in combination with some of the orange tones of ink for the flowers, that looks beautiful too. So you really have a lot of different possibilities, depending on whether you're going bright and springy or if you want something a little bit more harvest or autumn themed as we get into autumn. So now I've got my green on here. You could again do a second pass if you wanted to, but I'm going to go ahead with this and pull this out. And then again, I can do my layering. So this way I can make sure, okay, do I want it tilting this way, this way? I still have the possibility to make it a different orientation if I want to. So you can move things around. You can have it going however you want. Lots of different ways to go. And then you've got plenty of space for your sentiment on here. So again, just a reminder with the sentiments, you can use one of the little ones from the book Engravings, but I also really like the Beautiful Day set. And I have to say, because these blossoms are kind of about the same size, that these two sets work really, really nicely together. So you can mix and match. I use one of the sentiments on there for my original card. And then just added in a couple of sequins around there. So really easy, bright, cheerful, wish you the most beautiful day, which is just a really nice sentiment, I think, to have. And I popped this up onto foam tape just to give it a little bit more dimension. So that is our first card. Now this is how you're supposed to use the stamp set. Those are my air quotes, because of course you don't have to do your stamping this way. And I'm going to show you a couple of other ideas. So hi to everybody who has popped in and made comments. Sue, you just stepped out of your craft room and thought you'd check Facebook. Here you are. Yeah, cool. Hi, Sue and Kathy. Great to see everybody. So I'm sorry if I missed any comments as you were jumping in. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab another piece of cardstock. And in this case, I'm also going to bring in the Beautiful Day, because this, as I mentioned, is a really nice one for combining with this set. I really love in this set these little floral accents. So there's like a little, really delicate little blossom, and then a really nice longer one here too, and some smaller elements. So what I want to do is create a background with those, and I'm going to add on some other layered pieces that I've already done. So you've seen how very difficult the layering process is. So now let's see what we can do with that. So here is an alternative for you. And I'll just do this one quickly just so that we can have a bit of a play. And I'm going to grab this middle one here, this one that I love so much, because it can be used for lots of different things. So again, I've switched over from the book Engravings to Beautiful Day, just to use them together. What I really like is that you can combine a lot of the Altenew stamps together and have a really, really nice look. And it's nice to be able to kind of get extra use out of some of your designs. Okay, I'm going to pop this here. I'm going to, let's see, we've got a little tiny one down here. I'm going to use this one too. Okay, so I've got those all more or less in place. And again, I've got lots of pre-cut and pre-stamped elements, and I'll tell you which inks I used for those as I'm putting things together. So let's do this. I'm going to tuck that one there. And for this, I'm going to use Lava Rock. I love Lava Rock. It's a nice soft gray. You could do this using black, but take a look and see what you think of it with the gray, because sometimes the gray just gives a really nice soft effect. It's not quite as stark as black, but it still gives you, there's still some presence to it. So you can see how sweet those little blossoms are. Really pretty. So that was Lava Rock. This is one of the unsung heroes, I think, from the ink colors. You know, we always get attracted to, I'm always attracted to like the Aqualicious and the other blues and greens, but you know, we've always got these colors that are wonderful to use, especially in backgrounds. Okay, so I've got done, and I'm working onto a square piece of, again, just some smooth white cardstock. And I pre-did these pieces earlier. So I've got the large, so just think, the other one that we did, look at the contrast between the two. You can get some really different looks. And of course, for this one, I've also done the flower center on here. So I've got this one using Grapevine, that's my accent piece, and also Coral Bliss. So those were the colors in here. Then I also added in, for the small one, some Coral Berry. So I've got some blossoms here. I've also got some of my green leaves, beautiful green leaves. And I did these ones with olive. So the exact same process we just saw works the same way for both of the flowers. They stamped the same way, the same layering process, but it's kind of fun to mix and match the colors. So now I'm just going to start putting down, let's see, I think I'll put this one over here and start working in some of these blossoms. I'll tuck that there. So that looks really pretty as it is. I can also pop this one in like so, and maybe this one here. And I've just got them sitting on here. So what you can do, of course, once you've got it all arranged, I would normally use, there goes the cap. I would normally use a double-sided tape, but in the interest of time, I'm sure you don't want to watch me fiddle with the liner of the tape. I'm just going to grab a glue stick and just kind of tuck some of these elements under here. This guy's up on some foam tape, which I like to use. Let's see, I have this one here and this one here. So sometimes when I'm working on cards, I'll do some extra pieces and then just have them cut and die cut and ready to go. And I reuse like little plastic containers, takeout containers or whatever you have. And they can come in handy when you need a quick card. So, okay, I'm going to pop this down and tuck this one under here. And then we'll add another one over here, kind of overlapping. And then, let's see, I've got a square card blank here. Again, you've got lots of room for a message or for additional embellishments if you want to, but I think it's just a really fun way to get a big, bold bouquet or a smaller one if you want to. And again, you can play with the positioning of the flowers. These two are the same, stamped in the same inks, but just tilt them different directions and they can really look very different. Okay, so this is how you are meant to use the stamp set, again, with your layering on there. But let's take a look at some other ways to use these. Okay, I'm going to clear aside my inks, all of my lovely ink colors here. And let's go to water brush markers. So I'm going to be using the Tropical Fiesta set. Couldn't we all use a tropical fiesta these days? I'm up for one. This is one of several sets that Altenew has. So this one, the other one I have is Winter, I think it's Winter Wonderland is what it's called. Again, really great for simple coloring, quick coloring. They're really invaluable. And you can see all of the colors that are included in here. There's 10. If you haven't worked with these before, they are a lot of fun. And I'm just going to grab, let's see, I'm going to go with something bold. I'm going to use the Purple Wine for my flower. And I'll do some accenting with the fresh lemon. And then for the leaf, there's a color in here, Lime, that I really like. And if you haven't worked with these before, basically they are like a water brush, but they are filled with watercolor. So all you need to do is simply color in your piece. Now, what I do recommend is, because you're using a watery medium, that a permanent ink like the Obsidian is going to be your best bet. If you use a dye ink to stamp your image and then you use a water-based medium with it, then you can have some smearing, and that's no fun. but they're really easy to use. They have a nice fine tip, which means that you can get into some of these areas really well without going over the lines. And it's beautiful, beautiful color. Let me turn this around here. So just really, really easy, nice coverage. You don't, it does say push on here. This is only when you're priming the pens, when you first get them. Then you will need to push. But after that, don't push while you're coloring, because if you do, a whole lot of this will sort of shoot out. So that's not the way you want to go. Unless you're doing a cool background, but probably not when you're coloring in a detailed image. Okay, so you can see how beautiful that color is, just really bright and bold. Now you can combine your colors, you can layer your colors, you can do lots of watercolor style techniques with these. And the really nice thing about them is that they are a really soft, translucent color, which means that I can go over this center area here. And not only am I not smearing that black line, of course, because it's the obsidian, but also it isn't being dulled down. So I'm not like coloring over it. Okay, so there we go. Bright, bold, fresh lime green. Absolutely love. Okay, so that was with the lime. Now let me get the purple wine, not to drink, but to color with. And again, just come in here. No need to press or squeeze the barrel. You just come in and let that color flow. Color flows really, really nicely. And I have to say, I've used these pens. I've had these pens quite a long time. As I mentioned, I've got the 2 sets, and I kind of use them equally. They both have really nice colors, really versatile colors in them. And I store them, so they're lying flat, which means that they don't get clogged at either end. But I'm going to say I've had these for like over a year anyway. I think they were a pre-COVID acquisition. So if that gives you an idea. So they're still quite full of the watercolor. So they will last a long time. And I really love the ability to just come in, grab one, and color something. We will play with some of the watercolor pans in just a second, but this is a great option. Also, if you're traveling, if you're going on vacation, take me with you. No, if you're going on vacation, sometimes it's nice to pack a little art set, and this would be a great option to do too. If you're headed on the road, if you're driving somewhere, this would be great. Okay, so you can see how that color is just bold and vivid. It's no trouble to get it out of the marker. And I don't have to be too terribly careful either. So you notice I'm just going right over those lines. But because I have a nice fine tip on here, I also don't have to worry too much about going over any outer edges. Okay, so this is as easy as it gets. Now, when this dries, and it won't take too long to dry, you can also come back and rework it. You can add water to this. You can add water, actually, if you're working on your craft mat. I'll squeeze a little bit on here. And this is where I am squeezing the sides just to decant some of this onto my craft mat. And let's see, I have a water brush here. So I'm just going to add some water in here. And then using just a regular water brush, I can work in some more diluted color. So you can also start with a watery wash of these colors and then come back when they're dry and add the darker color on top. So you can see the difference here, I think. And of course, the more water you add, you know the drill, the more diluted the color will be. So you can see the difference between the two. So that's your other option. You can definitely come in and add a different medium or different range of this. So I'm just going to blot that. Let me clean this off my mat before I put my hand in it or something else. And then you could sort of come in here, you know, and just accent some of the folds of the flower, like so, if you want to. And then, let's see, I'm just going to come in and color some of this. Then you can take, this is the fresh lemon. And because you have that nice tiny tip, you can just color some of the details on that. So you can go from light to bold. You can keep the color quite flat, or you can add some kind of nuance in there and some shading if you want to. So I'm going to show you a couple of examples using this. So using the same two colors or three colors that I just did, that purple wine with the fresh lemon and the lime on this Slimline card. So again, just simple die cutting. And when I'm doing this, I should have mentioned at the beginning, I'm using watercolor cardstock. So Altenew has a really nice watercolor cardstock, and this is going to be a great option when you're working with the water brush markers. Okay, so that's one option. Now, if you also start to blend out and dilute some of the color that you have on the darker areas here, and just start to sort of move this color around. You can see that it's getting lighter over here. You can manipulate that color as well. And when you do that, it won't have this flat, bold look. It will have a much more watercolory effect. So I'm just coming in with a wet brush, and this is a water brush, but you can use a paintbrush too. You can see how that's lightening, lightening, lightening. And then you may even want to come in and carefully blot to pick up some of that color. And when you do that, you will have a softer, more watercolory look. And then you will end up with a look like this. Now, this is another one that I did using the same pen set, but I used, this is another one of my favorite colors. This is the Sun-Kissed. So it's a really pretty orange, which I used in combination with the fresh lemon, and did that exact same technique where I just added water in there and blotted it. So I'm not going outside the edges like you may think, oh, just grab the water mister and mist this. You can do that, definitely, but then the color will go beyond the black edges of your outline. So if you want to keep the color within those edges, and you still want that crisp white going around the outside edges of your die or your die cut, then go for that option. Just work it slowly from the center, kind of pull that out, and you are set to go. With the leaves, I also use lime, but I use lime in combination with sweet leaf. So really, really easy to do and a lot of fun to do as well. This is a kind of therapeutic sort of style of watercolor where you don't have to worry about it too much. You've already got your image on there. Now you can just have fun with coloring. So again, you can keep it bold and uniform in color, like I've done with this one. And you can see the difference between the two of these with just adding some water in here. Or you can work in some water and really get some fun effects. Okay, so those are the water brush markers. This is the Tropical Fiesta set, which has a lot of really nice colors. So everything from the purple wine to crimson, sun-kissed, fresh lemon, sweet leaf, lime, turquoise, I love it, And then you've got some darker colors, Desert Night, Paper Bag, and Lava Rock. So these are all really great to use for coloring too. And if you like a quick on-the-go kind of coloring effect, this is perfect. So this is another way that you can color in your flowers. But the last way that I want to show you, I have to get everything out of the way here. There's so much I want to show you. I wish I had like 2 hours. I really could have kept going with this. The next technique that I want to show you, though, is using the watercolor pans. And that's what I've used for this card. So here I'm using the watercolor set that you may have or you may have seen. This is the one with the watercolor pans. So not the pens, but the pans. And you may be shocked when you see mine. Mine is well loved, as you can see. I've had this for a long time and I really like it. So these are something you may be familiar with. They're all individually panned, if you will. And you've got, what's really nice, you've got the ability to pull them out. They're labeled on the back, so you always know what you've got. I wrote the corresponding color inside here just to keep myself organized. But you also have a nice area in here for doing some mixing if you want to. They are super duper watercolors and they're a lot of fun to use. So what I've used on this card, again, working onto watercolor cardstock, and very important, stamping with the obsidian because you don't want that color to bleed all over and to blur. I've got the leaf, the one large leaf, and then I've got 3 of these flowers. And the flowers I've done using Caribbean Sky. I'm going to pull this one out, double check. Caribbean Sky, Ocean Waves, I think is here. No, Ocean Waves. Is this? This is Ocean Waves. It's like a memory game. Bamboo. There we go. And what was the other one? Frayed Leaf. Oops, Forest Glades. Frayed Leaf. And I had one more, Citrus Burst. Okay, so I can pop these out. And then that way, when I'm misting them with water, I'm not misting the whole pan. I don't need to have all of those. I can just set that aside. And I've got this already stamped and ready to go. And I'm going to bring in my water brush with a finer tip. There we go. And I'm just going to give a little bit of a mist. I'm going to do the flower first. So let's start with that, with my 2 colors. So again, this is Caribbean Sky, or Caribbean Sky, depending on how you pronounce it, and Ocean Waves. And I'm just going to mist some color in here. And now the difference between this color or this application and the water brush markers is that this has an opacity to it, which I find really interesting because we think of watercolors as being really, really translucent. And these have a little bit more strength to them. So I don't want to go over the lines like I did with those pens. I want to keep away from the lines as much as I can so that I'm not dulling them down. It won't completely cover over, but it will sort of dull them down. So I'm just sort of working in some of these areas here. And really, really like this color. And I'm not using a ton of water. I'm just working along here. This is going to give me a soft, kind of a sky blue. And the watercolor paper means that it's holding the watercolor quite nicely. So I do recommend, if you're not using a watercolor cardstock for this, I do recommend a nice, good, smooth, sturdy weight cardstock. Okay. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of water to my brush And pick up a bit of this ocean waves. I don't want too much of it, but I just want to add a little bit more color in here. And of course, when you're watercoloring, when it dries, you can still rework some of the shading, some of the colors, and play with also if you want to do some shadowing on here too. So I'm working wet onto wet. I didn't let the Caribbean sky dry before I came back with the ocean waves. So they'll blend together and mix together. And this is super therapeutic. If you're looking for something relaxing to do, this can be it. Okay, so now I have a really pretty kind of purpley blue color. I'm going to do a little bit of detail in the center with the, what did I say, citrus burst. And just come in and kind of tap that color in there. It's hard to get around without covering over any of those dots. So I'll just gently blot this a little bit. And then I have her. And then for the leaf, let's move these aside. And for the leaf, I'm going to, again, just mist these quite nicely, quite well. And let's start with the bamboo. Just have to double check. And again, same process as before, just being quite careful not to overlap any of those dark lines on here so that I'm not dulling them down. I want everything to be crisp and black. Okay, well, I just covered over that, so whoops. Okay, and come in here. And again, having a nice fine tip on a water brush will be really helpful. So we got some of that. And then let's come back with some of our frayed leaf. Is it frayed leaf? Frayed leaf. And again, working wet into wet. And you'll get some really nice mixes and blends of those colors. Really, really pretty. Because leaves do tend to have a variegated effect to them. They're not all exactly the same color. So then I'm just going to keep going with that frayed leaf and come in here and color the rest of this. So here we go. Nearly there, nearly done. Okay, now this is still quite wet. So what I would do is not try and hold it up too much, but I think you can see the variation on there and how pretty and how easy that is to color. Now again, once this is dry, I can come back and add some more detail and shading around there and really create some beautiful effects on there. And again, I use the yellow, the citrus burst in the color. You can in the center. You can also add a little bit of citrus burst into the center of the leaves there too. Now the stripes that I've got going on behind here, this is the beach towel stripes stencil. And this is one that I love to use in combination with florals because it creates a really nice visual balance. So this is using our watercolor. So you can see the difference between this watery effect and using the water brush markers for a watery effect too. So lots of different ways that you can play with this. Okay, I've got one more technique to show you. I think there was a question on here. Let's see. What was the name of the mat being used? Oh, this one right here. This is the Altenew craft mat. And this is what I use to protect my work surface and also to use as a palette. As you can see, I've used it quite a lot. And it is well loved. So that's by Altenew. And underneath it, I have a craft mat. It may look a little bit different than when you've seen it before because I flipped it over. The other side is black, the side is gray, and I just flipped it over because I have a little bit of a lump in one side, and I'm trying to flatten it down. So that's the only reason it looks different. Okay, the last technique I want to show you, I have to give credit to Aram Tasneem. If you have been on the Altenew website, you know that she is the queen of a technique that has intimidated me for a long time called the no outline watercolor look. And so I thought I would give it a try last week, and I followed her instructions. And I used some clear embossing powder to stamp and emboss the images onto watercolor cardstock. I know it's like impossible to see that, but here's the big flower, here are the leaves, and doing it clear on white is going to give us the ability to watercolor in here, and you won't have the black outline. You'll have the outline, but not the black outline. So this I give credit to Aram Tasneem. She has lots of classes and tutorials by Altenew, so definitely check out her techniques because she will do a way better job than I will right now. But I tried it for the first time on Friday and I was super excited. So I thought I have to share this with you. Okay, I'm going to go back to my watercolors and I'm going to pull out Lavender Fields, and let's see, this is Deep Iris and Midnight Violet. So let's go for the purples and let's just stay with the Forest Glades. Let's do Forest Glades and Frayed Leaf. Okay. Now, I know we don't have a whole lot of time, but I still wanted to share this with you. Okay, I'm going to grab the purples here. And when I start painting, you will see this emerge. See this beautiful picture emerge. I'm going to start up here with this flower. If I angle it, well, yeah, I think you just trust me, it's there. And I'm just going to put in a little bit of water here so that I've got a wet surface. And just kind of get a little bit of this on here. Now, when I pop down the color, you can see the beauty of the embossing powder, of course, is that it acts as a resist. So you can see this, I think, resisting the watercolor. And it will give you this beautiful, soft effect. And when you do your die cutting, you'll have this outline, this beautiful outline, but it will be, it's not invisible. I mean, you can see it, but it will be fading way to the background. Now, in this case, because all of the embossing is just going to be my resist, I can just come in here and actually do it quite quickly. I think the thing that intimidated me was I thought, oh, it's going to take me ages. She does amazing work. Aram Tasneem. It's Aram, E-R-U-M, and just does absolutely beautiful work. So many of you probably already are familiar with her. So, okay, I'm going to pick up a little bit more, some of the darker purple. And just look, it's just going to sort of go where you scoot it. You don't have to be too careful. Just let the serendipity go. You know, a lot of this will be by happenstance and good luck. You just sort of push this around. Let's see, this is even darker. Which color is this? This is Lavender Fields. Okay. So you can go as dark as you want to. You can keep some areas really light. Keep it balanced if you want to. You can see, though, it is just such a lovely technique. And then all you need to do, once you've got it worked up to the point where you want it, you can just let that dry and then do your die cutting. So I'm going to let this hang out for now and move aside these purples. and clean this up. And it's not a precise technique. You don't have to be really precise with this. Let me grab those greens, and again, let's see. Just come in and add this color in here. First, I'm going to add a little bit more water in here. And just let this go where it will. I don't have to worry about it going over the edges too much because, of course, that embossing powder is going to hold things in place. Good lighting is really key for this. I was doing one and it was getting a bit late on Friday night. And I was so excited about this that I was working later into the night, and I realized that I was like, am I actually within the lines? I needed to turn on another lamp. Just make sure that I am seeing where I'm going here. Okay. And again, this is a technique that you can use with any of your colors. So if you're not a purple fan, if you'd rather go with pinks or yellows, of course, you absolutely can. And here we go. And this is with the clear embossing powder. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of hold that up so that you can see it. So you'll get the gist of the outside image, and you can see how that will come together. Now, when it's dry, and you do want to make sure it's dry before you do any die cutting, otherwise bad things can happen. Do make sure it's dry. You can also zap it with a heat tool if you want to, and then die cut all of those elements, and you can layer them onto your card front. Now, I also did some spattering on here, and I used the watercolor. I used, I believe it was the Forest Glades watercolor, just to tap on to that background. And then this sentiment is from the Sentiment Strips #2. So that worked really nicely with this stamp set as well. And I did my first no border, no outline watercolor. So thank you to Aram Tasneem for inspiring me and showing me how to do it. So 3 techniques, 3 different ways to add color to your flower stamps, specifically our book engravings, which are buried underneath everything at this point. So again, the book engravings, stamp, and die collection. That's been our main focus today. Just to whiz through, again, the cards here and the ways that you can use them. You can do our really soft watercolor technique. You can do take advantage of the outline and have something that has more definition. I mean, just take a look at how very different those are. Super easy. You can also bring in your water brush markers for a really soft look or a really bright, bold look. Or, of course, you can do your layering as it was intended to be. So loads and loads of different ways that you can put these various pieces to work. Easy and fun. I'm going to switch back the camera so we're together again and wrap up our hour together. I can't believe it. We actually did do it in an hour. So whistle-stop tour of the ways that you can use this stamp set. So hopefully it has been inspiring to you. Again, we were working with, I'll show you just quickly, the supplies, the book engravings stamp set and coordinating die set. That's going to give you the ability to pop up your various elements, whether you just glue them down or layer them down. You can incorporate other elements in there. And the other stamp set I was using, it's really messy here now. The other stamp set I was using is the Beautiful Day, which also has some nice big blossoms on it, but also has some really nice smaller accent pieces. Sentiment Strips #2, I used the watercolors, water brush markers in the Fiesta collection beach towel stripes stencil for the background of one of the watercolors, and lots of different inks. So whatever ink colors you enjoy working with, this will do the trick. So easy, simple layering, a lot of fun, and lots of different coloring possibilities too. So that is going to wrap it up for us this evening. I was with you on Thursday, and today I don't have a live next week because I'm teaching a class. I'm teaching a workshop for Altenew on, I have to check, June 22nd. I think there is still space in the class. So these are online Zoom classes. We've been having a lot of fun with them, and I'm teaching with the Celebration stamp and die set. So we're going to do some more watercolor techniques. So if you are looking for something to do on the 22nd, take a look and see, and hopefully you can join us for that too. Okay, whew, I'm out of breath. Any questions? I will definitely be looking through the comments and make sure that we don't have any questions that got unanswered. Thank you to Kathleen for probably the fastest typing hands while I'm whizzing through different things to share with you, and for being with us this evening. So I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I will catch you again next time. Thank you so very much for joining us today, and I will see you later. So take care, everybody.